This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY.
WDAY.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Friday night means high school basketball takes center stage this time of the year. We've got two games coming up tonight here on Extra. Thompson and Kindred are playing. That'll start at 6 with the girls, the boys at 7:30. And on WDAY 2 tonight, you've got Sheyenne and West Fargo Horace set to match up. The girls start at 5:30 with the boys at 7:30 tonight. We'll have each of those games. So 4 games either on Extra or on WDAY 2. And that Horace-Sheyenne matchup, always going to be fun. Our pleasure to welcome back to the show Hawks head coach Kyle Cummings joins us here on this Friday morning. It's great to see you. This is my last official day. I can say Happy New Year. So Happy New Year to you. Hope you had a great holiday. And it's crazy. It's not like I haven't been paying attention, but here it is. It's January 3rd. You've played 8 games. Does it feel like the season actually starts tonight?
You know, we're back into conference play, and so we were talking at practice throughout this week, and we're about a third of the way through the season. We get 21 regular season games, and now we're starting conference play again. And, you know, we have been on the road. We had 2 home games to start, and now we've been on the road for 6 games in a row, and now we've got a little home stretch. These next 3 games are home games, which is going to be awesome for us.
Sorry about it. You got to play over in St. Cloud. How much was that a help over the holiday? So you didn't go 10, 12 games or days between games.
Oh, it was huge. Just looking at some other teams in the EDC. I know you mentioned Sheyenne. They haven't played in a little while. And then West Fargo, we have them on Tuesday. They haven't played since, I think, the 19th or the 20th. And so we played the 21st, and then we had a couple days off. And then we came back. We played the 27th and the 28th. And it honestly feels like we haven't had a game in a month because we've had 6 days of straight practice, but it's nice just to know that we're going to get things rolling again. And I love the 2 games a week kind of thing. It just keeps the boys interested. And I think the games help us get so much better as well as practice. So.
I know you have some crossover. How much of the vibes from football has that rubbed off on basketball?
You know, we've got 3 guys on the varsity roster, 4 guys on the varsity roster, that were on the football team, the state championship football team. And 2 of them were receivers that each of them had some big plays in that state championship game. And then Cole Somerville, one of our big guys, he was on the line for them. And just kind of we have some winners on the team now. And so that's helped. It's definitely rubbing off, like you said. And just kind of the fact of those guys being there, winning some games, winning some close games, I think that it's definitely helping us on the court as well.
Is there a different level of confidence with that comes with it, Kyle, that you've seen?
You know, as a collective, yes. I think that we had a really good summer just kind of putting in the work together. And so I feel that the confidence is there. But just knowing, being in the weight room, going through that kind of shared suffering as well. A lot of those guys were on the football team and lifting with the football guys. And so it's kind of been a process, and it's been in the making for sure. And so it's definitely helping out.
Are you getting the outward pressure here? Girls basketball made state, football won the championship. All right, boys basketball, where are we at?
We've got some goals this year, and I'm not going to tell you all of them, but making it there is definitely one of our goals. We talk about that with some of our captains, some of our leaders as well. And that's the thing, is we're wondering when it's going to be our turn, and the EDC is wide open this year. And so we could be in the top 4, or we could also be in the bottom 4, just depending on how things shake out. It's wide open this year.
Carter Evanson is all over social media and what he's doing. Why is he such a great athlete, and what does he do so well for your team to help you win?
Before we talk about him being a great athlete, he's a great person too. And, he works really hard. He's a kid that loves basketball, and he has put in more time than anybody else. And he shoots it at a pretty good clip. He's kind of having a down year from the 3-point line. He was as a younger kid, he was a 3-point specialist, but he's really just expanded his game, and he can get to the rack and get to the rim. And, he is honestly turned into, if you would have told me what he was going to turn into when I met him, I would not have believed you. He's stretched out to 6'3", and he's putting up a couple of dunks each game now. And so he's just transformed, and he's a really special kid, really special player. And I think that what he does for us on the court, matches what he does for us off the court too. He's a great leader, and he's really learning to become a better leader as well. But he's, like I said, put in more time into basketball, but into the weight room. He's starting to actually care about what he eats, which is, if a high school kid can do that, that's incredible. I'm 30 years old and I'm struggling with picking the right things to eat. And he does, he cares so
Yeah.
much. And I think that it's really leading onto the court as well.
39 a couple weeks ago against South. I mean, just when you get those kind of numbers, you're going to get people's attention. Has that started to happen collegiately wise, of people keeping an eye on what he can do?
Yeah, absolutely. And he's actually had 39 twice this year. He had it the second game of the year against Williston. He had a really good shooting night. And then he also had it against South, like you said. And that's the thing, is that I had mentioned the EDC is wide open this year. And I'm not going to complain if he keeps having some big games like that, but there's going to be some teams that really start to key in on him. And as for like the college recruiting process, it's starting to pick up for him a little bit more. I know that he was invited to go watch NDSU versus St. Thomas last night, and I told him I'll be as involved as you want me to be or not, and that's fine too. But I've definitely got some places in mind that I have some coaches that I admire and look up to, that I think that he'd be a great fit for their programs. And so I send some emails and some texts and kind of advocate for him as well.
With your ECI background, how much can you facilitate that? You want to have him make his own decisions, I know, but you have connections as well. How do you walk that tightrope?
Like you said, it's a tightrope. It's a really thin line, and I just want to tread carefully too, where it's I know the type of kid he is. And so if there are coaches that reach out to me, I'm always honest with them. I don't want to lie and damage my reputation or anything like that. And he is a special kid and a special player, like I said, but he's got to pick the right fit for him too. And so as much as I can steer him in a direction or anything like that, I want to almost avoid that, because I think that, with college athletics right now, it's, if he chooses and he chooses right, it's going to be a great fit. And if not, I mean, not saying that he's a portal kid or anything like that. It's just
where we're at now.
Options. Yeah.
That's where we're at, is exactly right.
Exactly.
Brady Westfall signed to go play at Crookston. Describe the kind of player he is and what he can project at the next level. I mean, the Northern Sun, as we all know, what kind of level of basketball that is.
Well, you watch the MSUM and the NDSU game too, and it's, right now the Northern Sun isn't too far behind the Summit at some of those top teams. Minot State, I think they're still undefeated right now,
Correct.
15 or 16-0. And Crookston is definitely taking the right steps to compete. They're kind of middle of the pack right now. And Brady, he can shoot the ball. He can really put the ball in the hole. When he gets hot, he is hot. And that's the thing, is that if you can shoot, you can play. And he's a kid where athletically he's got to kind of figure it out on the defensive side, I think, where once he figures out his athleticism, he's going to have to guard ones or twos in college. And some of those guys, they've got a quick first step. And so if we can help get him ready, that's a bonus. But both those guys you mentioned, Evanston and Westfall, they're both just kind of focused on the task at hand right now. I know Westfall, he's signed and he's excited, and Evanston, he's got a bright future, but I'm really proud of those guys for just kind of putting our season first right now.
And that means that Cheyenne tonight, I had Tim Brandt on a couple weeks ago just to get a gauge of where things are at. Obviously, they're different, Kyle, from what they were last year, but it's a rivalry game. So, I mean, automatically, I have to imagine emotion's going to be a bit juiced in the gym. And you mentioned you haven't been home in forever either.
Yeah. Tim is, he's another coach that I get along with really well, and he is somebody that just does things the right way. And I don't know if we're supposed to mention Tommy Oneman or not, but with him leaving, I told him in the summer when we first kind of found out, I told him, well, my game plan's scratched. That almost makes you guys harder to guard. I knew back in June, July, what I was going to do when Tommy was coming back, but now with him gone, they are a lot more unpredictable, and they are going to be hard to guard tonight. And they've got some good guards. They've got two really good guards in the EDC, and I think it's going to be a good matchup. Like you said, we've been gone on the road. And so a big thing for us this year is, Dom, we didn't win a home game last year. And so a big thing for us is that we want to defend our home court, and we want to play there in front of our fan base. We travel really well, don't get me wrong, but we want to play exceptionally well. We want to put on a good show for these guys. And so that's going to be a big focus for us is during this homestand, especially is defending our home court.
Does that mean when you're talking about how wide open the EDC is, does that make it even more, I don't know, challenging as a coach? Because all right, we're not sure who's going to be on tonight. Where in some years, if you know, like Cheyenne and North were the last couple of years, we know they're really, really good. Does that make it even more challenging to prepare as a coach?
Absolutely. I do a scouting report for every game, and we try to attack every game the same way. And Coach Richmond was on the other day, but he talked about he's not superstitious, but being superstitious in the way that they prepare for games. And I'm the same way. I try to do things the same, getting ready. And this scouting report for Cheyenne especially was a little bit different, where we usually key in on 2, maybe 3 guys. We talk about maybe a certain big we got to keep off the glass, or one of the elite guards like a Claybo or a Matthew Sem. But these guys, they kind of have a balanced attack where, we had 5 guys on this scout because it's just kind of one of those, we can maybe shut down 1 or 2 of them. But just so you know, these 5 guys, they've put up 16, 15, 12, 10, and they're more of a balanced attack. And so that makes it even harder to guard.
Most important question, what was the biggest gift for the little man for Christmas? What did he get?
Santa brought him one of those Power Wheels grave diggers.
Ooh, all right.
I was telling you before when we were off air that he's big into monster trucks right now.
Yeah.
So he's got one of those right away. It's, he is still kind of figuring out his speech a little bit, but he said it clear as day. He said, "This is awesome." And so it's inside
awesome.
right now. And we live in like a 3-level split, and he doesn't have much room. It doesn't turn very well, but he drives it, crashes into one wall, gets out, turns it around, drives it the other direction, crashes into the other wall. And so that was the biggest gift for him, I would say. Biggest and literally and figuratively.
You got to get some foam padding there to protect your walls, maybe, right?
Exactly.
You're a great basketball mind. Can you fix the Timberwolves for me? Why do they stink?
Guys hated on Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, I know.
I'm missing him a little bit right now. I'm missing him.
Yep.
If I'm on the outside looking in playing armchair quarterback right now, I'm saying I love Ant. I do, but he's become too good of a shooter to where it's almost a fault. He's not attacking the rim.
Yeah.
It's not so much the Wolves, but it's the entire NBA right now, where there's a crazy stat that came out. It was 62% of the Celtics and Wolves shots last night were 3-pointers.
Wow.
And so I think he's shooting a little bit too much. Let's get to the rack and get some of those poster dunks that we used to get when he was brand new.
Indeed. That's he's best at, too. He goes there, he gets fouled, he normally makes the shot. And last night, the one that could have tied it, there was no chance he was going to make that. It was not good.
When they know where the shot's going, it's easy to key in on that guy. And I get it. If I had Anthony Edwards, I'd put the ball in his hands too. But yeah.
It's great to see you, bud. Thanks so much for the time. Good luck tonight. We'll catch up down the road, okay?
Thanks, Dom. We'll talk to you later.
Good to see you, bud. Kyle Cummings, head coach of the Horace Boys Hawks. They're in action tonight. As we mentioned, they take on Cheyenne. That's a double dip. Both games are available on WDAY2 tonight. Girls get going at 5:30. The boys at 7:30. So we'll have coverage of that. You can check it out later tonight. Also stream it on WDAY+. Big night for us. We've got our cruise down in Frisco. We're also going to have 2 live games going on. We've got Bison basketball tomorrow. So just because we've turned the corner and football's wrapping up doesn't mean our live stuff is really kicking to high gear now as we've clicked into January. Good stuff there. We'll take a break. We come back. A few more emails to get to as well. And again, coming up in about 15 minutes, NFL picks with my pops. Back on Hot Mic on this Friday morning, right after this.